few girls say I fi dye my beard. I mean I make them know say I don't want it die. I want it live. I'm out.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are doing good. Hope you all are doing great. So your boy here come across this one wherein VYBZ KARTEL seen in an interview stating the list of the top 6 greatest of the top musicians and not including ALKALINE. VYBZ KARTEL also mention Popcorn and his view concerning the upcoming show, and also Popcorn seen giving his point of view. Plus guys, you will be also hearing from MUTABARUKA attacking a lot on the cutting edge. So guys, this one is gonna be really a warm and interesting one. So you wanna stay tuned, and don't forget I'm here on the Black Unity program. So feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you're new. With that being said, let's go ahead and hear what VYBZ KARTEL and MUTABARUKA that's to say in this one, my people. Let's walk.
A few girls say I fi dye my beard. I mean I make them know say I don't want it die. I want it live. I'm out.
As the lyrical machine, as the lyrical man you are now.
Yeah.
See, them have the question where them ask. Them ask Skilly Bang with there.
Yeah.
And them say, who are the top 5 lyricists? Now we know more sensible people are going to say VYBZ KARTEL is number 1. So we take out you out of it. So you're number 1. So we want 4 more from you plus an honorable mention, which will be number 6. So the 5. Who you would have said in a dancer? Remember, you know in there, because you're the goat. So you can't in that part.
Alright, I have to put what I call from in my time to now, I have to put
Yeah, man.
Labas. I put Labas. Obviously, I have to put Skilly Bang in it. Simply because his style different. Labas remind me of me without being me.
Yeah?
Not how much it does.
Does.
Who else now?
Not get no more wine, so it does.
Yeah, man. I don't know if people listen to that youth about what I put Sassy in it. You know what I mean? Because we are talking from my time forward.
Your time forward up, yeah.
Put Sassy in it. That's about Chess.
Chess.
What else we could have said now? He's a man very skeptic in him, and I just give it praises, so you know.
True. Got top lyricists we are talking.
Yeah, man, so I'm gonna give her praises, so. What I put Donia in it?
Did it and Donia?
Yeah, what I put him in it. How much that we gone?
We're going 4, 4.
Quattro.
5 no.
5. What else would I say? And this will be the honorable mention.
Yeah.
Oh no. I like the whole I look at you, the most of them you know, but they not like
Yeah.
crap and you know sinful and what's sinful name again, Raja?
Raja, why?
Bad youth, craft them, bad, said 450 bad. Who would I give the honorable mention? Okay. Mr. Answer. Mr. Answer. Oh, yo, Pablo YG Batuma. The first person here upon the show now. Who?
Spice.
And enough from Portmore again. Spice and Portmore, enough from Portmore. You see me?
What about Papi?
I don't sure yet, you know. I don't know.
Time will tell.
If they do good in a class, he never copy. But, you know, yeah. Yeah, dog, but yeah. But you know, we never can. As time goes by, when we hear the lineup. But hear me, I say, I can tell the people them this. And I'm not bag a man thing for me show. Yeah, everybody get them eye. Make them.
Everybody want to run on on the show like a Super Bowl.
No, man, me I don't remember me and one of them man they can run on for nothing for me, man. Nothing, man. You talk about not show me change, man.
VYBZ Kartel in concert.
Yeah, man. We give everybody them hype and them time, you know. Yeah, so when we there prison, when they are road, I run up and down and they all board. I'm taking no hype. No man can't run in for my hype, daddy. That now go on. No. That now go on. Yeah, that now go on. No,
I love that. We love that.
But somebody on the road, we not running, man. You can't see me thing on running, man. You have to stay far and hold up your hands up.
Yeah. From we.
And
As
we talk about family, this is one question where them in our chat are asking for asks. December 31st.
I'm up there.
December 31st, my DJ. You see outside?
Which part of a cartel show?
Yeah.
You know most, you're foolish.
No, they are foolish, my DJ. What are the DJ? Never ask me. Never ask me. So, we tell them every day, say, no, the DJ not going to do that. No, where? So, tell them, brother. Tell them.
Yeah, man, most of it dead, man. What's wrong with you?
All right, so all I would that chat, don't ask me no more time. Please, I talk to the leave me alone now, yeah?
You know now? I have to be a part of it. See me?
That is it.
We have to be there in a building, man, and stay so.
That is it. Them don't know these things to them because, you know.
RFM next Wednesday night on your radio. Oh, you stay out there? Okay, you ready for it? All right, you listen to a sister named Regina Carter. I'm going home, you know, it's a long time soul tune that. And the first song you hear was brand new by Xylophone. Broken Hearted. We'll continue the journey and we have some things lined up for you, so don't touch the dial, you know. Them call I know, Reverend Carlin Davis or Bishop Carlin Davis. Yes. One done popular by I should never again. I believe you me, that is terrible. How can I forget the lady who sings this song originally, caught up in the rapture? Oh gosh, man. Anita Baker. Oh gosh, man, Anita Baker, of course. I have an artist blank a while ago, believe you me. Anyway, because I didn't want to say something still, I didn't want to say something, but you know, say the whole week has been transformed into a Trump week. Trump week. Everything that is possible to happen. And more going to happen. This man is something else, man. This man is really something else. The man make a big statement today like a president, you know. You hear the statement when I apologize and you can't see somebody write it for him, you know. The man said the thing like John F. Kennedy, man. I tell you. That's how we end. I mean, you know, say it's him right and him write it still, and you know, say him not really mean what him I say, you know, but why him never do this all the while? I mean, this could have avoided so much madness if him did do what him do today. If him did do it all the while, things would have been so easy and nice. But him carry people through all of that and all him supporters them, and for 2 months now, him a carry them through all of this madness. But I tell you, Rasta, and tomorrow I'm going to come with something else, you know. Tomorrow I'm going to come with something else, believe you me. Him have how much days left now? Today what? The 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Him have 4 more days to leave the White House, you know. Say, Nancy Pelosi, Fred say, him know him have the code to the nuclear weapon. She make case quick. I'm going to do an impeachment thing. I know say, him get impeached, you know. But I don't think they're going to try him until after the inauguration day. But, well, I tell you, the man is a different man. Day before yesterday, you know, the man come out and say him not take no responsibility for nothing we're going, you know. Him say him not take no responsibility for nothing we're going. Today, the man is like the president of America. Listen to the man's speech, I say, wait. The person who write that theme, why them couldn't make him, I try him get impeached, you know, because after the impeachment, he make that message there, you know. It's after the impeachment, he make the announcing. But, oh my gosh, man, may I tell you, Trump is one of the most, the most popular, not even Abraham Lincoln, not even John F. Kennedy, where them assassinate. Trump is the most popular man in the 21st century, or beginning of the 21st century. No, Rasta, I have never seen nothing like this. A day before yesterday, the man said, nah, take responsibility for nothing. Day before yesterday, the man said that, you know, him stood up in front of people and say, oh, me, I want to deal with. Me tell the man, me never tell nobody if I do nothing. The man, them do it for them own. After I'm done, 2 days before that, him tell the man, them say, look here, go march, go down there, I will go, all him son, you know, all him son, you know, and him wife too, you know. Him son, him wife, and him influence the man, them for go down there, no go do what them do, you know. The man say, not take no responsibility. 2 days after him get impeached, the man stand up there, the man sit down there and make a speech, man, that me I say, why, wait there, Obama write your speech. It's all like Obama write his speech, because I never know say could have tell them something there. This is the, yeah, we have played this tune for Glenn, you know. Glenn and Marjorie, we have played that tune for you know. This is Mr. Brownie, Robert Brownie, the man called Dubwise. Yes, Dubwise, the son. A son, yes. You're listening to Sade, a remix of By Your Side. This is the cutting edge, you know, that's also how we do it. You know, say, all right, we're going to play out that tune. As we say, you know, we get a little inspiration to actually read some Marcus Garvey words in the half hour or so. We want to read some Marcus Garvey words to you because Marcus Garvey is a very motivating speaker, very motivating. We want to read this, when Marcus Garvey talk about allegiance to self first. Allegiance to self first. Marcus Garvey say, no voice but your own speak to you from the depths. Let no influence but your own time raise you in time of peace and time of war. Hear all, but attend only that which concerns you. Your first alliance shall be to your God, then to your family, race, and country. Remember always that the Jew in his political and economical urge is always first a Jew. The white man is first a white man under all circumstances, and you can do no less than being first and always a black man. And then all else will take care of itself. Let no one insulate you for their own circumstance. There is no humanity before that which starts with yourself. Charity begins at home. First to yourself be true, and thou canst not then be false to any man. Marcus Garvey talking about self-alliance to self, or allegiance to self. And he goes like this again, he say, the world today is indebted to us for the benefit of classifications. The world today is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and science from Africa. then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Their modern improvements are but duplicates of a grander civilization that reflected thousands of years ago, without the advantage of what is called and buried and burned and still hidden, to be resurrected and reintroduced by the intelligence of our generation and our prosperity. Why should we be discouraged because somebody laughed at us today? Who to tell about tomorrow will bring her today? All right, we need some light inside us. We need some light. Did they not laugh at Moses, Christ, and Muhammad? Was there not a Carthage, Greece, and Rome? We see and have changes every day. So pray, work, be steadfast, and be not dismayed. We'll get a light so that we can read. Okay, we could play this trailer. We'll get this Grammy-nominated album. We have to tell you how we first played that tune, you know. We have to boast how we first played that tune, trust me. Okay, so we have to go back to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey, African fundamentalism. So Marcus Garvey said, fellow men of the Negro race, greetings. The time has come for the Negro to forget and cast behind him his hero worship and adoration of other races, and to start our immediately to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate to positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made their distinct contributions to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of the place of sainthood alongside of Joan of Arc. Christos Attucks and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than that of the martyrs of any other race. Toysant Louverture, brilliance as a soldier and statesman, outshone that of Cromwell, Napoleon, and Washington. Hence, is entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Africa has produced countless numbers of men and women in war and in peace, whose luster and bravery outshine that of any other people. Then why not give and see good and perfection in ourselves? Marcus Mosiah Garvey, talking about seeking and searching for the goodness in ourselves and those who stand up for the rights and our liberation and freedom. African fundamentalism, serious thing. So, why we read that is the idea of self is a very important aspect of conditioning. When a one lose himself, when a one start to live out others, what you call fantasies and illusion, I will mention it last week, and it start to make the man reality his own, it mean a serious problem. When you hear Marcus Garvey say, emancipate yourself from mental freedom, it's really, that is the problem that we have, and it confronts us as African people, that we have this need to emancipate yourself because we actually believe that what we are doing now is what we intended to do, and don't know that there's a force that is driving us deep within the historical references of slavery and colonialism. So Rastafari come and say, them is against slavery and colonialism, and that is what Rastafari was founded for, you know, as something against slavery and colonialism. And that is what we need now more than ever, to continue in that journey, in that way that Leonard Howell and all the great men them have passed came to say, liberate yourself from mental slavery. So, we recognize how important it is right now to understand what is happening in the world today. We have some things we confront we never used to do before, like the COVID, that is one thing, like it no confront me, but it have a repercussions anyway, and that is what is going on in America now. Never before, a president of the so-called most powerful country on earth, never before a president of the so-called richest country on earth has ever been impeached twice. Twice impeached. That is really something else. But we don't want to get contagious still. We don't want to get contagious because we don't have no impeachment law and so. I have certain law, no impeachment, they just shot the president and that is it. I just hang him or whatsoever. What going in America couldn't happen in China, but as you man talk about, that couldn't happen in China. A man get an election and him win, and you talk about say you win. After thousands of people say you win, you lose, and sure you have thousands of people say you win, it just look like it's a real thing. It look like a real thing. And you have black people sit down there and look on him and I say, yeah, win, yes, this and that. It's a crazy thing I go on. They keep repeating a lie, it become true, and that is what I'm good for. Donald Trump is good, keep repeating that lie and it become true. Because thousands of people actually believe what I say. Them actually believe it. And to the point where if you sit down and think 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, you're going to start believing it too. When the reality in front of your face. A man who say one thing today and say the next thing in the evening and the next thing in the next day. And then you wonder, wait, can a man stay? So yes, a man can. All man I make things and I make that, you know. Him not make nothing yet for make man love himself and one another more. Can you believe that? You know, the making and the tablet them and the injection them. Them can't invent an injection. Because I'm not saying we're in a pandemic as it relates to not liking each other. You need an injection, man. That's when everybody take it. It's just love. It's just love. Believe you me. I don't know how people don't recognize how terrible the thing are going. It's terrible, man. It's really terrible. So we're going to talk about Marcus Garvey. So we're going to talk about Marcus Garvey. Fundamentalism. Marcus Garvey said, must have your own opinion. Marcus said, have your own opinion. Hear what I'm saying now. Any race that accepts the thoughts of other races automatically become the slave race of that other race. As men think, so they do react above the things around them. When men are taught to think in a certain groove, they act similarly. It is no wonder that the Negro acts so peculiarly within our present generation, because he has been trained and taught to accept the thoughts of a race that has made itself by assumption superior. The Negro during the time of slavery accepted its thoughts and opinions from the white race. By so doing, he admitted into his system the idea of the superiority of a master in relationship to a slave. In one instance, he was freed, that is, from chattel slavery. But up to the time of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, he was not free. As a matter of fact, I can say up to even now. He was not free in his mind. African fundamentalism seeks to emancipate the Negro from the thoughts of others who are encouraging him to act as our own opinion and thoughts. Any race that has succeeded in the world, speaking of the ancient world up to the present world, will tell you that they succeeded by thinking and acting for themselves. Whether they be the Medes or the Persians, the Greeks or the Romans, the English or the Americans, each and every one, ancient and modern, will tell you that the ability to rise above others and to establish themselves in the world was only made possible through the fact that they thought and acted for themselves. This is Marcus Garvey words saying that we must act for ourselves. We must gather information, but we must also sieve the information. You know, this is the age of knowledge, you know. This is the age of knowledge. We must not only gather information, but must be able to decide and discern what will benefit us as a people rather than them as the enslavers. So we say age of knowledge, very important, age of knowledge. Yes, we're living in the age of knowledge, and knowledge is a very important part of the whole thing, very important part of the whole thing. So here we are saying now, we want to play a tape. We have played it before. It is about inner power. A man named Stuart Wilde. Him have that power, and he's referring to the power within. So we hope Shane have it line up. We're going to do it like maybe after 11, perhaps a quarter to 11 or some to 12. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We could put here that children. We could play about the age of knowledge.
While driving through Jamaica, there's only one radio station I listen to, IRA FM.
Yes. This is the cutting edge on IRA FM there with you. So we are going through the place. As we say, we have a tape here, you know. What make cutting edge, what cutting edge is that there's times when we usually give you some lectures and some talk, and a lot of people used to groove and move into it. More, you know, my brother, who used to work at the JNB Bank in New Kingston, and I'm saying they are country, I'm saying they are place, so I know Cascade. You know, somebody never asked him near yet, but when I hear them up, you know, I'm saying I bring some nutmeg for me and some this and some that. We are waiting for it. We are waiting for it, you know, brethren. Yes, a long time I listen to continent, you know, long time I listen to continent, trust me. We're glad when we hear some man say him still I listen to. Yeah, and him not left it. Shinehead. We're still there with Marcus Garvey. The turning point in man's history. This is really the turning point in the history of man, in which the Negro plays a prominent part. I'm going to stop saying Negro here, even when I'm saying Negro, and say black people. So here we go. This is really the turning point in the history of man, in which black people plays a prominent part. Men or man came into this world under the same circumstances. When creation opened, man was a creature of creation, and in his rude and crude nativity, he knew not where to turn in nature for the enjoyment of the best. His mind was young, his thoughts had not then reached the zenith, and so like a child, man crept along with the other creatures of the world, because the companion of the animals around and drank in that crudity of the which he saw. His growth, his development was not sudden. It was a gradual. Among the first of men to have gotten the new thought of the higher life was the black man, out of nature's rudeness, out of nature's virginity. He, the man, in thought, was the first to lift himself to a position of superiority among the other creatures that came with the dawn of creation. So while Europe and Asia lagged behind, remained ignorant of the higher thoughts of man, remaining ignorant of the higher calling of man, Africa steadily took its growth upwards. And on the banks of the Nile, black men found institutions and learning. Black men built a civilization on the banks of the Congo that became wonder, not only to men, but to the gods. The black man started to build and succeeded in building the first civilization the world ever saw. And by contact and by natural prowess and conquest, he came in contact with the peoples of the other countries and imposed their morality upon them, so that they found it a grand and glorious opportunity to be in companion with the Ethiopians. Even the Greeks, who looked towards their gods for counsel and guidance, could find no better companionship than that of the Ethiopians. So from the caves of Europe and Asia, they wended their way into over Africa. That is what I'm talking about. Oh, you know, them usually say we are the first. Well, them accept say African people are the first human being on earth, but them say we are the less developed. We develop last. That is foolishness. We depend on the earth before them, and them say we develop last. Our brains, them have a big, why may I tell you? And we still accept all these little crude talk. Not rude talk, you know, crude talk. It's uncomfortable for hear African people talk or them talk as it relates to just life and religion and all these things. It's very crude, man. How we get to this? Oh, every day we have to ask the question, why we keep buffing ourselves and don't know so we are buff ourselves. It's like buffers. We are like buffers, man. We keep buffing ourselves and don't realize so we are buff ourselves. For hundreds of years we keep doing the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. We cannot keep doing the same thing and try expect to get a different result. Not no go so. The law of nature don't grant you that freedom and liberation. Yes.
I from up it lock. Them are the number one Yeah. This is not a UYBZ
album. Skip Marley. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We want to read The Tragedy of White Injustice by Marcus Garvey. Now, all people don't know, so Marcus Garvey is a poet. I don't consider him a very great poet, but he writes some very striking lyrics. You know, years ago I wanted to record over the tragedy of white injustice. I got the permission from Julius Garvey. I don't know, I never go around to it, but maybe eventually I might just do that. I know that I talk about it, somebody out there might go do it before me too. Hallelujah. Lying and stealing is the white man's game. For rights of God nor man he has no shame. A practice of his thoughts out the whole world. At all great thunderbolts he has hurled. He has stolen everywhere, land and sea. A buccaneer and pirate he must be. Killing all as he roams from place to place, leaving disease, mongrels, and moral disgrace. The world's history of him is replete, from his javelin bolt to new-built fleet. Oaths he has robbed and crushed below. A friend and neighbor he has made a foe. For our men and women he made the slave. Then boastingly he calls himself a brave. Cowardly he steals and is trusting prey. Killing in his dark and shouts E-O-Ray. Not to go back to them prehistoric. Only when men in nature used to frolic. And you will find this big, long murder list showing the plundering of his mailed fists. Africa, Asia, and America tell the tale in a mournful replace. Oh, tribesmen and Indians and Zulus fell, fleeing the murdering bandit pell-mell. What the hell is a pale-mail? Can somebody tell me what a pale-mail? American Indian tribes were free, sporting, dancing, and happy as could be. Asian hordes lived them a little life their own. To civilization they would have grown. Africa's millions laughed with their son in the cycle of man's course to run. In stepped the white man, bloody and grim. The light of these people, freedom got dim. Marcus Garvey, him rhyme every line. Marcus Garvey rhyme every line. But I would suggest that it's a long poem, a very long poem. As a matter of fact, it is a book in itself. The poem is one book. Can you believe that? Yeah, man. The man write a poem that take up one book. You can get the book to buy The Tragedy of White Injustice, and you can continue to read for yourself. But why I read that poem is to show that Marcus Garvey, as an orator, him use the word for really send out something out there that resonated at the mind of the people. And him use every means necessary to do it. He was not only a practical man, but he was a man who write, just write, and then him actually perform too. Yes, Marcus Garvey perform, as a matter of fact. A place named Eloise Park, down a Slipe Road, so where them have now the pork shop, where the fish place, the pork shop, big sign mark, the pork shop. That is where Marcus Garvey Eloise Park was, where he used to have stage shows and political meeting. Bustamante and Norman Man, they used to rent that place to keep them political meeting from Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey used to keep whole heap of show there for bus people. There, Marcus Garvey bus no people right at that spot there. I don't know how the government make that spot there and sell out that spot there to become a fish and pork pit place. I don't know how them things they got still, but it should be something to revere that spot, just that spot. For no say, the political party them in Jamaica now that claim to govern the land. The two main leaders of that political party used to rent that place to keep a political meeting. Yes, from Marcus Garvey, and Marcus Garvey used to keep stage show there. Read poetry, songs, sing songs and dance and all them something there. It was not ordinary man that. It was not ordinary man. So we continue the journey. As we say, we have a thing for play where we hope the people them will look into where we are dealing with, and so we are dealing with that. We're not one-sided and we're not two-sided. We don't have no side at all, you understand? We just have a journey, and the journey is to really bring to your attention certain things that you might not even think about. You might never even think about what we are dealing with, you understand? But it is good to think, don't it? Yes. Think and then figure it out after. This is the Cutting Edge and IRFM. We're there with you. Pell-mell word, him said mean hurriedly, scattering. How would you say, Shane?
Yeah, the word usually associated with like disorder or so, and it just means that them did a flee hurriedly, rapidly. Yeah. Oh, hurriedly, okay. Yeah. Run quick. Yes, all right.
Is roots rock reggae. Hear this? And all them other little stations, what me say? A straight reggae. You hear that?
Hello, this is Stuart Wilde. I think the reason this book, Silent Power, did so well was that it correctly stated the true nature of one's identity the etheric. The word etheric comes from a Greek word that means to blaze, like a fire blazes in the grate. It is the bioelectric force field that surrounds each of us. In that field are your true feelings, and it is that field that people respond to consciously and subconsciously, whether negatively or positively. People seek energy with which to survive, so they often look for sources that are oscillating higher than they are. A high-energy person is like the sun, radiating silently for others, helping them feel warm and less threatened by the fragility of life. The etheric is the silent energy all around you that defines what you are. For a long time, the etheric was a rather hazy concept, ill understood. It was marginalized as fringe thinking and set in the concept of the Theosophist writings about the color of the aura. In many ways, the whole thing about the aura was rather gummy and somewhat elitist. If your aura was blue or violet, you were supposed to be an elevated being, and if it was more red or sludge-colored, you were relegated spiritually to the bottom end of things. The etheric is light, and light is colorless. It is only if you pass a beam of light through a prism that you can see its rainbow colors. I'm sure that in the inner worlds, the etheric has color, but in our outer world, we don't see the color. We see it as fast-moving flashes of energy. And yet, at times, you will see speckles of color in it, but not a whole wash of any one particular color, say. For 70 years or so, the teachings about the etheric lay in the realm of speculation. You had to take it on faith, as very few saw the field, and no one could really define it. But now science has caught up, and it has been discovered recently that the field of the etheric, which stretches for several feet around you, is in fact made up of a special particle of light known as a biophoton. Photons are particles or packets of light, and a biophoton is light generated from a biological source. So basically, we would say it is biological light. German researchers who have measured and documented the biophoton say it is invisible to the naked eye, because its light is so weak and it easily gets swamped by bright sunlight. But it's not totally invisible, and you can teach yourself to see it. The early esoteric writings were very influenced by the snobbery and elitism of the Victorians. So they said that only avatars and high-level spiritual beings could see the etheric, and that came as a gift of an elevated spiritual status. That's a load of cobblers and not technically correct. You could be Jack the Ripper and still learn to see the etheric. The light is faint, so it is invisible to the cone cells that are in the center of your eye, but the rods of your eye, which are to the side, are very much stronger and more sensitive to light and movement. It's the rods that give you good peripheral vision. It is thought the human eye developed a more sensitive side vision as a defense mechanism eons ago when humans were under threat from wild animals and other predators. The rods can see the etheric, while the cones in the center of your eyes can't see it. So there's a trick to it. You have to glance at the energy field sideways, activating the rods of your eyes. And as you learn to do this, you'll see that all living things are surrounded by the force field of biophotons. You have to make sure the sunshine is not too bright, or that you're not under neon light. For some reason, neon light destroys one's ability to see. It is said that biophotons get their light from the nucleus of the molecules of the DNA in the body's cells, and that may well be the case. But the light is also generated as a byproduct of the electrical activity generated by brainwave activity, and also the electricity of the nervous system and the flow of blood coursing through your veins. In addition to all of that, there is the power created by muscular activity and your overall aliveness. The etheric light, its intensity, is affected by your level of harmony and balance, your minute-by-minute mood, so to speak. I came to see in the early 80s that the etheric is in fact where human feelings are stored. The body-brain mechanism can't experience the complexity of emotions and feelings. It has no complex terms of reference. It is a binary system that operates via a very simple on-off mechanism. that signals messages to the brain that translate into the sense of touch, say. The brain experiences everything as incoming electricity, on-off sensations that flow along the body's wiring system that we call the nerves. The brain experiences sensations, but it's in the etheric where human subtle feelings are experienced. Love, hate, bliss, anger, and so forth. Herein lies the key. The etheric is an imprint or map, if you like, of a person's feelings. A complex set of patterns and signals that describe the secret side of our humanity, that part that we often hide away. It tells you what a person really is, what they really amount to, which may be different from what they say they are or how they look. Many a crooked lawyer looks as straight as a die, all togged up in his suit and tie, spouting fine words. But in his etheric feelings, you may realize he's a professional liar, a ruthless predator eager to feed off you and your lack of knowledge. Lawyers can't get to heaven. There's a mechanism that prohibits them. That has always rather pleased me. I'd hate to go through the tedious effort of living a pious life only to find a lawyer standing next to me at the pearly gates. Now that really would be lousy karma. Anyway, by reading the etheric, you ought to be able to tell who's a crook and who isn't. Even if you can't as yet see the field of energy, you can definitely feel it. It's just a matter of telling yourself that you have the power to do so. Some people are naturally psychic, but everyone has feelings, and the more you control your ego and process your life, the more sensitive you become to the feelings of others. The trick is to reach out and touch a person's energy from a distance and pull back towards you a particle of those biophotons I spoke of before. Each of those quanta of light will have a holographic entirety of the person you're looking at. Imagine this. You're watching a person walking in the street and they are in a bubble that is blazing all around them. You mentally reach out with your arm and extend it all the way across the street and grab a piece of them and quickly snap your arm back. It's all in the mind's eye, but it is real nonetheless. You will feel something. There will be a predominant feeling and other less prominent feelings, but you can tell if that passing stranger is sad or hurt or unwell or in need of reassurance or whatever. The more you do this exercise, the easier it gets. In the end, you don't even bother with seeing your arm going across the road. It becomes just the act of mentally pulling a small part of them towards you. Though the etheric is close to the body, it can jump a long way, and when it does so, it moves very fast. I've often seen it loop across the street or across a large room. You can get whacked from a distance, as the ghouls in the etheric know how to bounce off one human to hit another. There was never much defense against that, except to stay away from crowded areas, especially where people are violent or elitist or very agitated, like, say, at a football game. There's a war in the inner worlds between the forces of a ghoulish nature and those humans aligned to that darkness, and the millions of others that are more sympathetic to the human condition and more loving. If you're good, you'll get whacked left and right all the way. That's your karma. But it is changing now. The domination of the inner ghouls and their human allies is being broken down with every day that passes. Your silent power comes from your tenacity and your ability to endure and to proceed no matter what the odds. What makes it easier is when you begin to control your mind and not allow it to tow you around by the nose. You stay detached and you learn to let go. You have to somehow stop the mind asking questions and worrying. You have to trust and accept life as you find it and not struggle against it. When you turn negative, you turn your etheric inwards, folding in towards you. It's a protection thing, like pulling in and huddling up, waiting for an attack. This is dangerous, as adverse energy can find you. When you're loving and positive, the etheric rolls outward, and in doing so, it protects you from the incoming etheric of others. Also, when you're critical of others, you trash your power. It lets them in. The very thing that you're bitching about comes and joins you. You are part of it, and it is part of you. In your judgment of it, you own it. It is now part of your energy because you've set it in there with your emotions and feelings. You've pasted it all over your bulletin board, so to speak. In a way, you just want to become an observer of life and have no particular comment on what you see. In this way, you glide along without altering things too much. touching life only very little and not infecting reality in which you find yourself. If you walk through a mall and absolutely no one sees you, they never look at you or notice you, then you know you have your etheric greatly under control. When you gaze at the woman in the red dress, your energy goes towards her. She feels it and looks back at you. But if you can view her without any reaction, then you glide through life without tainting it, and you glide through silently. Every so often, stop where you are and stand still and blank your mind and go silent. And as you do so, you'll feel your energy expanding. It races out to the far reaches of the universe. You can feel yourself pulsing, radiating outwards. You can feel that you are so much greater than what you think you are. You're an eternal pulse, and that pulse is connected to everything. You are connected to everything. Years ago, I'd take small groups of seminar participants out in the street, and in a matter of an hour or so, I'd show them how to read people passing by. Everyone can do it once they know they can. A person's emotion is etched in their face, and if they've had the same emotion for a long time, it changes the shape of their face. You soon see it. It's more than body language. It's the way the body is sculpted over time by the human personality. If a person is mean, their eyes look mean. If they're angry, you can feel it. If they're cruel, their lips go thin over time. If they're a predator, it's also on their lips. They change shape. You can imagine them biting you for a little feed. I know a man who is a slick wheeler-dealer type, and he often talks through the side of his mouth, even when there's no particular secret or deal going down. And yet now his mouth is shaped that way, as if he's whispering round corners all the time. Everything about him looks shady. His hair is black and he puts little blonde streaks in it, which might be very nice if he were 18 years old, but he's almost 50. Talk about mutton dressed as lamb. He's very vain. Life is all about him, not other people. If you saw him, you would have no trouble working him out. When people are arrogant, they walk that way. They roll their hips and push their shoulders forward from side to side as they walk. It's a way of making space for themselves and threatening others, because obviously a very important person doesn't need others getting in the way. It's usually a form of walking and showing off at the same time. They strut and glance left and right to see who is watching them. A powerful person doesn't need to show off. He or she is humble. The more powerful they are, the more humble they are. That's always the case, because if they have a silent power, they will have an intimate relationship with God. And if that is so, they are bound to be humble people. It's simple. If a person is slovenly, you can see the laziness and the indulgence of their life, which is often written not just in their attitude, which often says the world owes me a living, but also in the rolls of fat around their body. Elitism looks weird. I don't care for it much. It is often manifest in the way some hold up their chin as they walk. They look down their noses at people. Where a person hates humanity, and there are many more of those people than you'd imagine, they have a scrunched up look under their nose and around their lips. It's a tightness. Sometimes you see vertical lines on their lips that have been etched over decades of criticism and judgment. They think they're better, and they scrunch up and sneer as a reaction to the horror of having to deal with other mortals. They sometimes look like they have a nasty smell under their nose all the time. When you're watching people for their vital signs, so to speak, don't overly engage your mind. Just look once, grab a snapshot of consciousness, and then blank your mind, or close your eyes if you like, and ask, what is this? And the answer comes back, indifference and disdain, or weakness and self-loathing, or sneakiness and thieving. The slut lets you know she's selling herself. She wants observers and admirers. It's a business and she's advertising. The mincing queen is making a theatrical performance of going down the hallway. In his mind, he is starring on Broadway. He's saying, watch me, watch me. Ain't I lovely? Ain't I special? Watching people and working them out is loads of fun. It'll keep you entertained for hours. And in reading people, it helps you to understand the whole range of human emotions and pretenses. Then you can start to realize that you can feel the same emotions in the etheric, as well as seeing it written on their face. and you begin to make the link between the two pieces of information you're looking at. For example, people that are very fat have fat souls. There is a gumminess to the way they operate. They want everyone and everything to be organized to sustain them. They are the great consumers. They don't just eat endless food, they eat everything. People, money, welfare, whatever they can get their podgy fingers on. They're a machine. Shovel it in, pass it out. Their gummy egocentricity makes for a wobbly etheric. And just as their rolls of lard wobble as they walk, their spirituality wobbles as well. Take a moment to observe and you'll soon see it. You will also see that they're often very self-righteous because they have to make their obscene levels of consumption right. So they're on their high horse all the time. They often look pompous when they walk. Remember, you just watch it because you're learning. There's no need to get emotionally involved. It is not an indictment of any one fat person in particular. It's just an accurate observation that says very obese people often have fat, self-indulgent souls. They kill a lot of animals to sustain their consumption. We live in a self-correcting universe, so God has made sure that fat people don't grow old. They almost all die young. Look around you, you will not see any old fat people. Old folk are usually slim. They eat less and consume less, so they survive. So while the fat ones feed and overconsume and lean up against others for their needs, they conk out early, and that allows for a balance to be maintained. The last 30 years of their possible human life, they don't eat anything because they're dead. It's the same karma for violent people. They often die an early death because God doesn't want any more danger on the planet than we've already got. So the violent guy pulls to him a mugger that knifes him in a dark alley. The world becomes a happier place, and then the mugger gets his lumps the following week. Sorted. Brilliant, isn't it? The point is here that in your silent power, you're just watching the world. You're not judging it, but you're trying to understand it better. And of course, if you are challenged by your weight, then the obvious thing to do is to look at what makes your soul fat. Perhaps that's a little bit crude to say it like that, but there's an indulgence in there. And again, it may be because of abuse in childhood, or it could be stored fear. Some people get fat because they're angry. There are reasons for everything. And all we're doing is like trying to understand ourselves with a kind of compassion and allowing us to become better people. It's the same with, let's say, men that wear moustaches. Almost all of them are closet fascists. They're hard and they're mean and they're often cruel. And then, of course, there would be some that aren't. In fact, men that wear a moustache as part of a beard are very different to men who just wear the moustache. But they often have an intensity, a violence inside of them that's really nasty. And so it's just a way of just looking at things. People with very thin lips are often very mean and cruel. And again, it's not all of them, but it's a way of observing the body language, observing the feelings, because in the end, silent power is all about feeling. It's all in the perception of it and the feelings. That is the only reliable yardstick for working out what the truth is in any given situation. The mind tries to guess what will happen next, or what is correct in any given situation. It makes it feel important when it guesses right. So the mind looks for patterns that may be repeated in the future to tell it what will happen. The horse won twice in a row last month, so we'll have 500 pounds on it today. Oh dear. This is why I say in my books that free will is for amateurs, because free will is part of the dogmatic nature of the ego. It's the ego insisting that it is right and in charge of your life. It's the inner Nazi, really. And wasn't it free will that got you to the stoplight in time to hit the school bus? And didn't it get you married to a complete disaster? And wasn't it right there advising you when you signed up for your lousy job that's now hard to leave? Free will is the rotten karma that comes from the ego's insistence that it knows what it's doing, and that it has a right to control your life in every minute detail. There are laws that protect the ego and free will, but if you work it out, free will is a terrible handicap to you. You don't need it. What you need is accurate intuition and an accurate ability to read feelings. The way something feels is the way that it is. The way it looks or seems may not be the way it is. Free will and guesswork are a disaster. Even when the intellect is right, it isn't right for very long. Today's good guess is followed by tomorrow's stuff-up. If you start to trust in your feelings and your intuition, then bit by bit they become very powerful, and in the end you learn to obey them, even if they take you to places you don't really want to go, or if they prohibit you from doing things you might want to do. It is the higher self talking to you, not the intellect, and the higher self has an overview that the mind does not have. I went to London recently to visit a famous building that I've always wanted to see. And as I was walking there, I got very clear instructions that said, turn left. The left turn would take me away from where I wanted to go. And so I hesitated for a moment, a little frustrated. Then I walked a few steps toward where I wanted to go just to see what would happen. And I suddenly felt a sharp prickling sensation on my wrist. When that happens, it's always a warning to me. It feels like mild stinging nettles. So I gave it up and walked off in the opposite direction, and I never did go to the building that I'd intended to visit. Why did my higher self warn me off? I don't know. But over time, I've just learned to accept orders and follow whatever I'm told. I travel the world with my little computer and a suitcase, and I go from place to place. I don't really live anywhere permanently. When I get to a crossroads, I wait for my inner self to tell me, right or left. Sometimes I hear nothing, so I check into a hotel and wait. Then after a few days, I see a vision that tells me which way to go. Or I get what I call a hit, which is a very strong feeling that instructs you. So you follow it. I've been doing this following along for many years now. The next day, I was walking down the Fulham Road in London, and as I passed a pub called Finch's, I heard someone call my name. I looked across the street, and there was no one on the sidewalk or in the doorway of the pub. Then I heard my name called 3 more times. Each time I looked, and there was no one there. I went up the street to get something, and then I turned back and walked into the pub. There was a man I haven't seen for 30 years. He hadn't seen me in the street or called out. I knew it was his inner mind that spoke to me, calling. I don't know if the chance encounter was for my benefit or his, but that doesn't matter. It was just another instance where I followed along. You see, you'll often never know why you end up where you do end up. But if you follow along, life will always be spontaneous and it will never be boring. Now, I'm not saying you should lead my life, drifting around. You might find it too lonely and bleak. But you can allow the silent power within you more and more influence, so you make less mistakes. You see, your power lies in what you don't do rather than what you do do. The BS you avoid is as important as the decisions you get right. A few decisive, well-planned actions are worth so much more than running around trying to do too many things at once. If you have no time in your life, it's because your mind has you as its slave. The ego is getting you to feed its every whim. And so you're up all hours of the day and night trying to keep it happy. Perhaps now it's time to stick the ego in the slammer for a bit and give yourself a rest. There's an element of silent power that allows for non-action. And the first and foremost non-action is to train yourself not to react. When all lose their head around you, you walk slow and feel out the situation. Get an accurate reading before you act. Remember, I've said before, when you don't know, don't go. Often it is fine to do nothing. And remember, retreat is a warrior's greatest weapon. It's never wrong to walk away and live to fight another day. The Rambo mentality that plows in regardless is stupid in my view. It can get you killed. Most things in life can be bypassed. That's the beauty of it. You have choices. If you're a confident person, you'll find that you can allow life around you to flow in whatever way it pleases, and you can grant that liberty and freedom to others. You will not need to control or dominate their lives, and if you do so, you're weak and you become the covert Nazi. You will demand allegiance from everyone and you will seek to have power over them. You will have rules, lots of rules. It's your control over them that gives the ego the illusion of power. But in fact, the very control you insist on makes you brittle and easy to push over. Because any time your control falters, your ego will go nuts and it'll become threatened and angry, and that will make you sick. And eventually you have to let go because you're in a hospital with a tube up your nose, fighting for your life. And at that point you don't control anything, not even your bowel movements. It all finds a balance, you know. In recent years, I've suggested to people that they try the Amazonian sacred brew, ayahuasca, which is spelled A-Y-A-H-U-A-S-C-A. The reason I have felt it important is because Aya, as I call it, teaches you loads of lessons about silent power. It assails the ego and makes it go quiet, and it teaches you to let go. It is sometimes called the vine of death, not because anyone dies from it, but because it takes you to an ego death, a place where the ego has to let go. And once it does so, the medicine in the sacred Aya brew shows...
Yes, you know, sir, we have to cut this little, because it's time for, it's 12 o'clock, really. And this is the time when we have the 12 o'clock anthem. But I tell you, this is something else. I mean, I listen to it so much time, but every time I hear something different tonight. This is the cutting edge, only on the cutting edge. Believe you me, only on the cutting edge. So we are going to go to 12 o'clock and come forward. Silent power. Silent power. That's what it is.
Join us with respect for our national anthem.
Let's do so, you're weak and you become the covert Nazi. You will demand allegiance from everyone and you will seek to have power over them. You will have rules, lots of rules. It's your control over them that gives the ego the illusion of power. But in fact, the very control you insist on makes you brittle and easy to push over. Because any time your control falters, your ego will go nuts and it'll become threatened and angry, and that will make you sick. And eventually you have to let go because you're in a hospital with a tube up your nose, fighting for your life. And at that point you don't control anything, not even your bowel movements. It all finds a balance, you know. In recent years, I've suggested to people that they try the Amazonian sacred brew, ayahuasca, which is spelled A-Y-A-H-U-A-S-C-A. The reason I have felt it important is because Aya, as I call it, teaches you loads of lessons about silent power. It assails the ego and makes it go quiet, and it teaches you to let go. It is sometimes called the vine of death, not because anyone dies from it, but because it takes you to an ego death, a place where the ego has to let go. And once it does so, the medicine in the sacred Aya brew shows you what reality is really like. You see the magnificence of the vast universal reality that we live in. Strangely, everyone sees the same thing. It all starts off in a multicolored dome of fractal geometric patterns. It shows you that every leaf and every little thing is in fact a mathematical formula expressed in an incredible complexity. And yet, in that vast complex nature of reality, there's an utter simplicity, a gentle and wonderful connectedness in all things. Aya is really a supplement. In repressive countries like the US and Britain, they call it a drug, but it's not. Its main component is DMT, which is natural in the body, and ayahuasca feeds DMT into the pineal gland. It's legal in Brazil and other places like Switzerland, and in some countries like Holland and Canada. It's not legal, but it's not illegal either. It's in a sort of gray area. You can get it and use it as long as you don't publicize it. Hundreds of people I know have gone to Brazil, to the temples of Aya, and they all say the same thing, that Aya changed their life and increased their perception enormously. I do know this, if you've not seen it, you haven't really lived. And if you're a spiritual teacher or a healer, you need it, because everything you teach will change once you've been to an ayahuasca temple. You will see that what you know is a bit inadequate, because it's just words. It's not the real thing. And your words may not even be accurate words, often enough. Aya rewires the brain, changing the synapses, activating receptors in the brain that have laid dormant for decades. The sacred Aya brew replaces lost DMT in the pineal. You need that for perception. It is the key to extrasensory perception. The pineal gland fires DMT, dimethyltryptamine, in heavy doses twice in its life, at birth and at death. The near-death experience is thought to be a DMT release, when the brain thinks the body is dead or dying. Modern humans are missing most of their DMT. That might be due to poor diets and the distress of modern life. But the missing DMT is why depression is so prevalent in our society. Aya heals depression double quick, and in fact it heals almost anything. It's deadly to parasites in the body, and it's also beneficial to sufferers of Parkinson's disease. I heard of a man who had a deadly case of emphysema. He was cured with ayahuasca in 2 weeks. I mention Aya because it's where everyone goes once they have no place else to go. No more books or seminars or whatever. It's where the teachers go once they have painted themselves into a corner and they have nothing more to say except to repeat what they've already said. Aya takes you to another dimension, many other dimensions, and from there you see life in a more powerful way, and you can come back and teach that to others. There are links to ayahuasca sites on my internet page, which is at www.stuartwild.com. Or you can look it up on Google. You'll find hundreds of pages on the subject. Now here's an interesting point about silent power that isn't in the book. In the late 80s, I wrote what became a standout book for me called Whispering Winds of Change. Many of the predictions I made in that book are now coming to pass. I said that a terrible redneck fascism would grip America, and that would bring with it war and other problems that arise out of the antagonism of those opposing forces that would see American imperialism destroyed. One of the main points I made was that the world is splitting into two evolutions. On the one hand, you have redneck fanatics, and on the other hand, you have an evolution of a more spiritual consciousness that seeks self-improvement and harmony. In very simple terms, it is as if the New Age hippies and the Rainbow Coalition go one way, and the racist rednecks go the other. That split is very prevalent in the Middle East, where violent Zionist racists and fanatics seek to hold Palestine as theirs, while equally violent fundamentalist Muslims seek to destroy the occupation of the Jews and evict them from their lands. The redneck parabola of evolution will seem safe to people. It grants them power because it is a parabola of energy that is elitist. It pulls inwards towards itself and excludes foreigners, or those that are not of the same racial type, or those that think differently. The redneck fundamentalist parabola is like an ingrown toenail. It turns inward and destroys itself in the end, but millions follow because the expanding open parabola of spirituality and humanity feels too scary and too alien, and it is often too communal. Elitists don't like to be too close to others. The open parabola is not elitist, well, not usually. It seeks the community of humanity and the global village, not the defined exclusion zones of the other conservative ways of thinking. Unfortunately, the redneck Reich, as I call it, is in power. They rule the Western world, and they also control the media, so they mold public opinion. That is why over 70% of Americans think that bombing unarmed villages, hunting for Al-Qaeda, is a good thing, and they believe quite erroneously that somehow all the military activity overseas and all the new fascist rules at home will somehow make them safe. Time will prove them wrong on that. The point is here, you have to decide which parabola you will follow. Will you back the rednecks through approval or apathy, or will you head for the insecurity of the open ground? You can take to killings and military mayhem, or you can adhere to the strictly non-violent spiritual path. It's part of your power. You can stay inside a collective violent evolutionary mindset, or you can drift off on your own and make a stand and look for others that are more open and loving and less likely to turn on you when things go wrong. I've always felt that the spiritual journey takes courage, as it involves the challenge of looking at yourself, but it also requires that you travel towards the unknown. That is why many never leave the safety and comfort of the fundamentalist ways. It feels safe to them. I mention it here because at this time we're very much at a critical threshold. Now you have to make a commitment and jump to one side or the other. I will say this, the redneck Reich and its European equivalent eventually falters and breaks up. But that may not be a reason for you not to follow it. as far as you can, but you may find yourself high and dry. So it becomes a point of your power to make the decision. Jump, no jump. You decide. The reason it is important is because since I wrote Silent Power, something else has happened that has altered the whole concept of silent power and catapulted it up into another realm. If you've read my site at stuartwild.com, you'll know I call it the morph. The phenomena first arrived to our perception in March 2001. It may have been here before, but it wasn't strong enough for us to see it. A transdimensional overlay began to appear, as if lacing itself between the spaces in our three-dimensional reality. I named it the morph because it has a way of making a room look hazy. The walls go soapy looking. You imagine you can see through reality. It has no proper solidity. In a way, the morph and ayahuasca are very similar because they both insist that reality is not solid and that it is made up of complex geometries and dimensions. But what we came to see was that we are not solid. In fact, early on in March 2001, I had a strange experience with 15 other people, whereby strange geometries suddenly fell upon our skin as if from nowhere. Beautiful patterns appeared on our faces, arms and backs that seemed like Mandelbrot fractals. Suddenly one arm would be covered in little green circles, and another person had red triangles and blue stars and so on. Each geometry lasted a few minutes, and then it morphed into something else. After an hour or so, we began to see that our solidity was disappearing. First our fingers began to dematerialize, and then a hand, and then whole sections of the upper body would go. It was just not there anymore. We found we could put our fingers into each other's heads, and when we took the finger out, it came out elongated and wet-looking. It was really weird, but we just laughed and laughed like little children. We'd never seen anything like it in our life. The whole experience lasted about 4 hours, and a few days later it came back. An upside-down Y-shaped funnel appeared over a 4-poster bed in one of the rooms, and we found we could stand up inside the funnel and disappear our upper body. The funnel gave the impression it was trying to suck one up and away, though it wasn't strong enough to lift us off the bed. But that did happen about a year later to one of the people that was present in those early days. He was twice lifted several feet off his bed. He's about 240 pounds in weight. Once when he levitated, he was on his own, but the next time he was there with an assistant that watched it all in utter amazement.
Yes, this is the cutting edge, and I refer, I'm going through the silent power. Hope you're still there with me. The man attack some things. The man attack some things, Rasta. We'll take some ad and come forward, you know. Yeah, we'll take some ad and come forward.
Ocherious, anybody look?
This is not a you I say. Irie FM is roots rock reggae. Hear this? And all them other little stations, what me say? A straight
over a period of
reggae.
several years, the morph got stronger and stronger. And while it is in effect a 26-dimensional overlay, I came to see it and define it in more simple terms as the descent of the goddess. Our world is being ruined by a yang masculinity that fights with other ego trippers and insists on controlling everything. The masculine yang is so out of control, it is blind to the danger it faces. Only the feminine can warn him, if he will listen. We need a world of inclusion and nurturing, not exclusion and death. If we knew a bit about inner power before the morph, we knew 100% more a little while later. The morph allows for a whole new perception to be born, because as it settles into this 3D plane, it provides a doorway with which we can see into its world, her world, so to speak. That world is soft and beautiful. It is a world of silence and power, a world of honor and fairness. It's what I've always believed would come, the Camelot world. I predicted it years ago. Why is the goddess here? In her 26-dimensional splendor? There's a complex answer to that you can find in my latest writings on the internet. But suffice to say, if she didn't come, the world would perish. And those humans that seek redemption and upliftment and a spiritual evolution would fade in despair. For the yang redneck racist politicians rule the world. Spiritual people are not in power because they're not elitist or part of the status quo, nor do they seek power over others. They know that that is a recipe for destruction. There's no spiritual percentage in controlling people. The goddess is here to show the way and to pull down the controlling mechanisms, to establish a new way, one of softness and compatibility. For that to happen, the human shadow has to be brought out of hiding and exposed, and people have to learn to suffer it and process through it. None of us is white. We're all a little black and a little white, grey in spiritual terms. None of us is righteous, not in spiritual terms anyway. We're all blotted by our upbringing and the way we have lived our lives and the way we have treated others, either silently in our minds or overtly through our actions and speech. So she's here to show the world its evil, but beyond that, she also shows the world the way forward. And that is the silence or the power of a new beginning, whereby the sins of the world are washed away by the Lamb of God, in the sense that she is the Lamb of God, but she's also Kali the Destroyer. So the world of the ego will fall in steady thumps. Western society as we know it will almost entirely disappear. Then you will need your silent power, because you won't be able to speak out much, as the fascists, sensing doom, will be racing around accusing everyone. They won't know where their next trauma is coming from, so everyone will fall under suspicion. At that point, you will have to let go and move on, and you won't care for stupid things, materialism and so forth. You will make do with very little and garner joy from simple, natural things. When the morph arrived here, it was 15 of us, as I said, but soon hundreds could see it, and the dematerializations involved many hundreds of people. It could be over 1,000 by now. It wasn't restricted to the initial few. The morph is everywhere and getting stronger by the day. In the end, everyone will see it and benefit from it. It has to be that way, otherwise there would be no point to it. The goddess is making herself felt for everyone's benefit. It's not for one church or one group or one social unit. She's not an elitist. She is the Queen of Heaven. She is for everyone. It's hard to see the morph in bright light unless the morph is very strong that day. It's best to look at it in more subdued lighting. Go into a room and have only a small crack of light penetrate, so it's almost dark. Then look at the wall and bring your attention back to halfway, in the gap between you and the wall. Watch the hovering in the middle. There you see it. It looks like fast-moving water, and sometimes it looks like dry rain, and at other times it seems soapy, as said. You may start to experience a fluttering sensation in your body. Sometimes in men, it is between your ankles, and often in the heart area with the women. Don't be concerned. It's a quickening of energy. The fluttering is the oscillation of the morph that you feel in your etheric. Sometimes you feel electric shocks at night when you're drowsy and just about to fall asleep. They're a bit dramatic, but you get used to them. Sometimes they come one after the next. My record is 147 in 5 hours, one every 2 minutes, more or less. Some are stronger, and they can twist you off the bed, but most are less dramatic. Some of the electric shocks go to other people and activate them. Everyone has to wake up in the end and come out of their stupor and watch what the goddess is now doing. I have predicted she will appear in the sky as apparitions, some of which will be 5,000 feet high. They stay in the sky for hours, even days perhaps. We've seen many of those so far. In the end, everyone will see them. People will find them very beautiful and very inspirational, though some folk might get a bit freaked out. It'll really depend on how much evil they have in their heart. In the end, the morph takes you to another world, one that truly is silent, because it isn't here. It is between the spaces of a reality, not in our reality. Imagine the space of a room being made up of oblong boxes that are hovering in mid-air, and those boxes give the impression of a 3D film that you have to wear those funny glasses to see. The boxes are hovering in mid-air between you and the distant wall. If you can get up and walk round the oblong boxes, you can walk out of this reality and disappear. That is where she would take people eventually, round the back of the holographic boxes. Now, this is not something that is decades away, in some remote future. It's very soon, a few months or a few years at the most, but not decades. Now, here's the trick. There's always some technique or other. The first act of silent power is detachment, seeing things in a less emotional or dramatic way, allowing people to be whatever they want to be, even if what they are is dangerous and ugly. The second part follows automatically. It is the ability to become a neutral force in life, not altering very much, not consuming very much, not talking so much, not being too insistent or fixed into a system or into a reality you have created for the ego's benefit. The idea is to be fluid and loose, an observer, not a talker. That is the way I speak of. The third part is about selflessness. So once you've done neutral for a bit, then you look to see how you will serve humanity, but not from the way you might have served humanity in the past, as part of the ego's aggrandizement, or as a business, but more humbly and more silently and more selflessly. It might be hard at first to understand that life at its most spiritual is not about you. It is never about you, it's always about others. If you talk in terms of I this and I that, it's all about the ego, isn't it? It's you preening yourself and discussing your needs or discussing your wonderfulness. But in the end, there is no you, only your higher self. And that seeks to love and connect and serve humanity as it doesn't have any other way to go. You're very important, but only in the early stages. In the end, you grow to where you see you're completely unimportant. It matters not if you're here on earth or dead. It's irrelevant. Life is not about you. If you think it is about you, then you've not evolved very far as yet. It's all about others and how you will silently and selflessly serve them. In doing that, you're not allowed to gouge them silly, like a plastic surgeon might. You serve at no cost, or at very little cost to others, and you serve until there's no one left to serve. It's very hard for people to understand this, but it is a fact that almost all power will be denied to you until you learn that you can't use it for your own benefit. It's only for others and the greater glory of God here on earth. You are irrelevant in the scheme of things. If you want silent power for yourself, you'll get a bit, but the real gravy will be denied to you. We discovered this in the morph. It wasn't a great surprise, as we always thought it to be the case, but it was confirmed to us. I would guess that better than 90% of all people can never reach the selflessness I speak of. They're too ingrained in feeding the ego and being important, or they want admiration and acceptance. They want to be seen as the great spiritual pooh-bah on the mound. If you want that, you can have it, because it's not hard to con people to follow along with a little perception. But you'll never have real power, because the power protects itself. It doesn't need any more pooh-bahs. God is tired of people pretending to be divine. And it doesn't need someone using the power to manipulate people. One of the functions of the goddess is to liberate us all from religion and shady healers and spiritual mishmash and set us free. She will come to destroy the ashram, not to raise it up. I reckon selflessness is a learned skill. I can't imagine people are born that way, though I might be wrong. It comes from a great discipline of the mind. You teach the mind not to desire itself, not to want for itself, not to see everything as an extension of its experiences, its daily life. Eventually you will rise to ask, how will I serve today? Instead of, what's for breakfast? Who will sustain me today? Who can I feed off today? Who will pay me? Who will notice and admire me today? And so forth. In the letting go, you get everything. But what you get, you can't keep. It's never yours, nor can you wield it either. If you do that, it may destroy you. All spiritual disciplines will only take you a little way, and then you may have noticed they peter out. It's once you know and accept that none of it is for you, and that it can't be used for money-making or self-importance, that you actually proceed. Most can't give away the self-importance and the sense of self. They desperately need it. Sad but true. So there you have it, silent power. When others talk, remain quiet. When they panic, stay calm. When they run, stand still. When they demand and want things, ask for nothing. When they eat, fast, and so on. It's always the act of going in the opposite direction that the collective mind will go. For the collective mind will burn itself out rushing around. You stay still and conserve your energy and wait and watch. It all comes to you in the end if you're selfless and you don't seek it or yearn for it, and if you can wait for as long as it takes.
Yes, this is the cutting edge. May I tell you, only upon the cutting edge. Only upon the cutting edge. As a matter of fact, I don't think no one brave enough to play them kind of thing that them hours a night and make people listen to it and don't want to go to bed. Yeah, man. We have been doing this for years, man. So we know so there's a whole heap of listeners now. Whenever you see that we do it, play it first, or the second, or the third time. So we decide we're going to play it again. And there's so much things that we have that we're going to play again and again and again because it's different people them now. The other people them used to listen gone and foreign. Yes, gone somewhere else and I'll start to do something different now, or the Africa or somewhere weird. And when you see them a friend, them say, why, when I Jamaica music, listen to country, there's enough, you know. And I said, when I say country, make me come here, so give me all some things that I'm not supposed to get. You understand? Yeah, some ALKALINE and all them something. Anyway, we're there with you. We're there with you. Here we go. So, we're going to take a chance and take some call. We're going to take a chance and take some call, you know, because we know some people out there hungry and anxious. Angry because they can't get the call, and anxious because they want to talk about things that have nothing to do with them just a while ago, you understand? So we're going to try, we're going to take the call, we're going to take the call. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. Yeah. Yeah, man. Blessed man. How you do?
Yeah, man. Loving the show, you know.
Weird. Sabatone.
Who's the number one fans on planet Earth?
Sabatone.
Yes, Muta. You know, first thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Those words. The Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Yes.
Thing that you read.
Which one of them? Life and Lessons. No. Life and Lessons. The name Life and Lessons.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
Yeah, by it's Robert Hill, editor. Life and Lessons.
Life and Lessons. And that book available like down Liberty Hall or.
No. Maybe if you ask Kirky, you know Kirky?
Kirky.
The brother will sell the book them on wheels.
Sell the book them, right?
Him sell them pan book on wheels, yeah, him all over the place.
Yeah, man.
And where he function them, they are place sell books.
Yeah. So Muta, I want to ask you something real quick. What about your store that you used to have? You located somewhere else or you don't have that?
Store? No, man, I don't have a store. They look how long that, man. Done with that, man.
No, so maybe you'd have located. I know, so you used to the African Star and, you know. But anyway.
No, I'm done with that, man. Years I'm done with that, you know.
Sure. So the one of the book the way they have, you just put that in your library, alright?
Yeah, man. I have them in the library.
Yeah.
I have them in the library. We still them use them as reference. You know, anytime I remember certain things, we just go to them.
Yeah.
So you don't have a library?
Yeah, man, I have my own library too. Because all we have a library. First library within.
No, I'm not talking about no weekend library. No, boy, I'm talking about book.
Yeah,
physical book. I'm not talking about no within library. Which in library?
Yeah, man, me have book, physical book.
Okay. What the latest book you read?
I want to tell you, not Tony Rebel. Tony Rebel in my mouth. I want to tell you something about Tony Rebel too. Everton Blender.
What I'm saying?
I gave him a book out of my archive, and the last time I heard him, in data, I think it was you was interviewing her. To ask Daddy about that book. Marcus Messiah Garvey book too, you know.
What name?
Me gave him that book, you know, and tell him to write some tune or type.
What the book name? What the book name? What the book name?
It name.
Me know you're not gonna remember, you know.
I think the teachings of Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Alright.
Yeah, man. Everton Blender, if you're a listener, somebody in Miami, tell Everton Blender that I Sabatooth gave him that book at Legend Studio, and me tell him to write some awesome song out type. I don't know if many songs him write out type, but
so why you never write some out type? Why you never write some out type? You?
No, I said maybe him released enough songs already.
No, I say why you never write some song out type?
Why you never know me write enough out type? Yeah, man, me write songs out type too, man.
Okay. So what's the last book you read? What's the last book you read?
The knowledge, and me not sustain that within myself to expound it to the nation.
What's the last book you read?
The last book I read. I'm going to tell you. The last.
I remember, you know.
No, the last book I read is a book about Rastafari. You
don't know the book name?
It named The Teachings of Him, with a full stop between the H and the
HIM is Imperial Majesty, that's what it means. Yes. HIM is Imperial Majesty.
Imperial Majesty, yes.
Okay.
I read a green.
Not a book, a sayings that. That's sayings. Things where it's as they say.
Yeah, it named The Teachings of
Him. That may I say, it's not like a book, it's like a booklet. It's a little book where all the things where you start to say.
One of them too. Yeah, you have one of them. Exactly, it's like a booklet. Yeah.
I have one from Ethiopia too, you know. Where me give Kirk if you sell. Yeah, me give Kirk if you sell them. It have been, well, I start to say in English, and by the next page it's in Amharic.
In Amharic. So you have it in Amharic or you have it in English?
Listen to what I say.
Yeah.
The booklet, it's like the teachings of His Majesty, certain sayings of Haile Selassie. One side, one page, it have on the English, I will say, and the other side have on the Amharic, I will say.
Yes.
The same book of English and Amharic in it.
Yes, I show you
that. Kirk if you sell them. Kirk if you sell them. Kirk you have them myself.
All right.
So if you see him, tell him to sell you one of them. Volume 1 and 2, we print in Ethiopia.
All right. I'm going to definitely link up Kirky. And as we talk about Ethiopia, most of where you hear so far are going in Ethiopia.
War and rumors of war. Tigray, Amara, Omoro, Eritrea, you know, a whole heap of things. Them not secret yet.
Them not secret yet.
No, they're not secret yet.
Well, anyone who listen from Ethiopia, because we have MUTABARUKA program, it is global, you know, east, west, north, south, you know, and every you listen to Muta. Tell themselves, you know, is there and there.
Yeah.
The blood is not necessary.
You're cut out, though. You're cut out. You know, your battery are dead.
Yeah, no, it's not dead. May I say, tell anyone who listening from Ethiopia right now, I working, I Sabatooth and MUTABARUKA, tell all the Ethiopians them, and who is even not Ethiopians, but in Ethiopia now, you behave on yourself down there.
That's like your father. Like your father. Like you go down, you go beat them. They don't behave themselves, they're going to beat them.
Them with the knowledge, you know, of love and equal rights and unity. Yeah, man, and I take the people to work down and power right now. Telepathy come through the real.
Let me tell you something. You see them take your people there, or some warrior them, you know. Them not be going on.
Well, them no warrior more than
they work with, you know. Eh?
Them are no warrior more than the lion conqueror.
Who are the lion conqueror?
Rastafari.
Listen to me, I say. Nobody come up with no like a religious business. Me say. You see the Tigray people, them, we are fighting Ethiopia and them, Omaro, Amara, and some warlike people, them, that's all them live off of. Them just a hopes another war come to go in a war, you know. The war people, them that.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I done fought the battle already, you know, I won it long time. And even many of those people used to fight against Haile Selassie. And
fight with him too.
Humble themselves same way.
To fight with him too. Anyway,
Mandingo. Bless up Mandingo and the people in England.
That's who you call too. That's who you call. All right, I get that.
A stalwart from in the music industry, Motard Park. Name.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so I give thanks. Here. Yes.
Rastafari live. There's a reward for us.
African, when we play African music, Africa that sing them. I have other music where white people in, but when we play African music, African people sing them.
Okay, no problem, man. Whatever you come with it, I'm always comfortable with it.
All right.
So you know, we not have no special nothing. No. Once you come with it, I'm okay with it.
All right, give thanks.
All the best now, all right?
Yeah, man, all right.
Take care now, bye-bye.
The original Jimmy Cliff song, done in fine style, man. Stanley Torrentine, man. Many Rivers to Cross, classic hit from Jimmy Cliff. I played for the lady who just called me with a soothing voice. You know, the 1 o'clock hours, man. Them voice there. Them voice there. Yes. You know, so the wrong music, we choose that stuff for that group, yeah? Wrong tune, we choose to that group, yeah? All right, here we know. We have about half hour left on the program, yeah? We know so advertisement have come up, but we are continue. What do you mean? We are continue. Yeah.
Yeah, respect. Man, as I said, Mr. Hope.
Blessed man.
Respect, man. Just quick, 2 quick points. Not gonna keep the show too long, because I know it's almost time for you to get off.
Yeah, full time, yeah.
No problem. Regarding to Leonard Owl and how Rastafarian see him, in terms of Marcus Garvey, when I analyze it, I always see like people tend to put Marcus in a trinity. Why not Leonard? Why Leonard is not up as seen as I heard like the founder of the Rastafarian movement? Why is it Marcus Garvey is seen more up front than Leonard?
Remember, say Leonard Owl used to belong to Marcus Garvey, you and I here. And Marcus Garvey is the one where opened the Africa for Africans vibes. In philosophy and the work where him do was international. universal. Him did actually dead before Leonard Howell. Leonard Howell come now when he break away from Marcus Garvey movement and decide say we supposed to stop dealing with the King of England and deal with that king where we are, which Marcus Garvey don't talk about that already. Marcus Garvey said, where's the black man king and the black man kingdom? So Marcus Garvey was like a forerunner to the Rastafari movement. So if you don't Leonard Howell, it started. Because not him one started either, you know, it's not him one he not started. But even though him was the forerunner, Marcus Garvey did have more impression on the people them at the time. You know, so him come now with Haile Selassie and add it to the Black Power movement.
Alright, I can understand that, you know, that Marcus Garvey was a more upfront man, but I know your spin on it, and I'm going to be personal on how you see it.
My spin power. My spin power.
In terms of, you don't see Rastafarian as a doctrine then, or
a religion. Me don't see that a religion.
Movements. Like
no. I don't see Rasta as a religion.
Yes, I understand you, but I'm just saying different from you. Like them would have said the Trinity then, like them would have said Marcus, Emmanuel.
That is the Bobo. The Bobo them say that.
Yes. So I was saying not only Bobo, other Rastafarian who is not in that whole say same way. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if Marcus in the Trinity, why Leonardo will seen as Marcus don't really, I would say, see Rasta as I would say Haile Selassie as our Rastafarian, or that see man Leonardo.
Well, Haile Selassie was not Rasta. He's a Christian.
But Haile Selassie becomes, the name Rasta becomes a religion or a movement. When you look at the dictionary, what Rastafarian mean, the name Haile Selassie becomes it.
I'm going to tell you. You see, in the early days, the people them who did not follow Howell, they name the Howellites, you know. They name the Howellites, the followers. Even today, if you go to Pinnacle, them still have a group of people who used to follow Howell. And them still call themselves the Howellites. So after a while, 1935, when them attack Haile Selassie and them up there, and Rastafari start to gain more momentum, is Howell declare Haile Selassie, you know. He never declare himself. He declare Haile Selassie. Now you have some man named Bobo and Prince Emmanuel, a brother named Prince Emmanuel, move and go Bulby 7 Mile and start a thing where them call the Ethiopian Black African Congress. And Prince Emmanuel was the head of it because he was the founder of it. And them declare Marcus Garvey because Prince Emmanuel did declare Marcus Garvey and them declare Haile Selassie. No, I am not a Trinity man, but you keep asking me why them never do that, why them never do that. Them do something where different. Them say Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie, and Prince Emmanuel are the Trinity. We declare Prince Emmanuel as the father of the Rastafari movement, Marcus Garvey as the first Pan-Africanist, father of Pan-Africanism, and Haile Selassie as our spiritual father.
Well, I don't have any problem with how you put it, sir. I was just saying, how me hear Rastafari and put it out there.
Well, I don't say Haile Selassie and Marcus Garvey is a Trinity. I don't see no Trinity thing.
Okay.
You know, I add nothing to Haile Selassie. All right?
Okay. The next quick point. You said that in terms of leadership, you don't see like it would necessary for a leader at this moment based upon how I've been listening.
When me say that?
Saying, huh?
When me say that?
I can't remember the exact date you said, you know. But,
so me not say a leader?
a leader for at this moment, like somebody like Marcus Garvey, who
I say we don't need a hero. We don't need another hero.
Yeah, we don't need a hero.
No, hero and leader different, man. Hero and leader different.
What's the difference between a hero and a leader?
A leader is a man who stand up in front of you and lead. A hero is a man where you look upon and say, this man have done so many things, you make him a hero. You don't mean say he's a leader, you don't mean say he's
a leader can be a hero.
I never say no, of course.
Back then,
but I never say so. I never say so. No, I never say a leader can't be a hero, no. You say I say so, I never say no leader. I never say
you cannot become a hero before you become a leader. I think you have to become a leader first and then the people see other hero after that. Am I wrong, sir?
Brethren, and you have bring up them something to me, you know. I have said to you, I never say leader, I say we don't need another hero. So if you want to say we don't need another hero, I can't stop you from saying, but I never say leader. I say we don't need another hero. We don't need no more Marcus Garvey become lead with, no Kwame Nkrumah. We don't need another hero. We must become that hero that we seen at them, man there. We must become the hero that we seen at them.
You think blind people can lead themselves if you don't have someone to lead? You think if when some pulling right, some pulling left, some pulling...
I never say you must have a leader, you know. I say we don't need no more leader because we have enough leaders already. We have enough heroes we can't show with the part. We have heroes we can't show with the part. We don't need no more leader. We don't need no more hero. So let me say it how you want me to say it then. You want me to say leader, I'm going to say leader. We don't need no more leader since you want me to say that. We must become leaders. We must become leaders. You must become a leader.
You can have, anyway.
You can't have a million leader. You can't have 1,000 leader.
You can't have so much leader at the same time. You have to have...
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
That's how European logics. And European logic can tell you that. So we can't have a whole heap of leader.
So at the state of the minds of our people...
You didn't tell me say you're not stay long, you know. You didn't tell me say you're not stay long, you know.
Alright, I'm not going to do that. Enjoy the night?
Yeah, man. At the morning, no. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Give thanks.
Okay, what were they there? What were they at the music? All right. Yes. Yell.
Greetings, Muta.
Blessed man.
What on?
Cutting edge.
Rastafari, man. Give thanks and praise.
Every time. You up them hours, yeah, man?
Tell me something. Now, from 1992, your program started.
Yeah, March. March 1st, 1992.
Well, see, man, we start today, and next year, I'm going to make 30 years. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, I got me this. Yeah, I told. You're right.
So, I'll just remind you. Sometime in a year, but you just go and easy and make other people go and come in.
No, man, of course. Watch out.
But you draw me out tonight, Bedri.
But I tell you something, wait there.
Yeah.
You said me not get no call. Me not feel like nobody now listen, you know. Because especially the woman them, you know. Woman really listen and not call, you know. Especially the ladies them. Anyway, what me try out for? What me try out for last night?
Well, the blind lady that sings, man.
Adina Edwards.
Yes, my brother.
Oh gosh, man, you remember, don't you?
Why I'm on common night is this? Because you need another witness, you know. Because you say here.
Yes.
Not true?
Yeah, man.
I remember when I used to work at BNS. In that time.
Yes.
I used to have to eat lunch at the branch that is on King Street.
Yes.
So I always have to walk past King Street and Barry Street.
Barry Street. Nathan's and Issa. Nathan's over one side. Yeah.
So, but always have to pass Mr. Diana.
Yes, I think that money.
Mark, you know, all right, they should live in a bedroom.
Yeah, man. Put out that plate and I sing for money.
And what I want to bring in play is Monica.
Oh gosh, man. You know, some of us children that play the harmonica.
But I remember it's a Muta. She did a yard, you know. I know what she had do.
Yeah.
She a cook, you know.
Yes.
And while she a cook, you know, she goes and she stir her pot, you know. Come back, you know, she sit down again, you know. And take up her harmonica, you know. And bust that thing, you know.
Yeah, I tell you, man.
And just pass and just drop a little thing in her plate, you know.
Yes.
And a crowd always surround her.
Always. You remember the man who used to play the saw?
Pardon me?
You remember the man who used to play the saw down there?
He was near to her, you know.
Right beside her. Right beside her.
When him lick the saw and the saw vibrate. And him bend it and make no sound. And I play some wicked music.
Yeah, tell you, man. That man, they're great, man. They're great people, man.
I tell the eye, when I look at these people, you know,
yes,
I couldn't avoid becoming an artist.
Yes.
Between me and you.
Yeah.
Because other than them, you know, I man grew up on the Brigadier, you know, Jerry.
Yeah, Brigadier Jerry, yeah.
You pick me up.
And Lord Ray John, them there.
And yeah, and Michael Smith.
Oh, you mean, where is the Michael Smith, man? The poet to poet, man. Poet to poet.
Because I know you're the daddy.
Yeah, I know that, man. Michael Smith. Poet to poet. Yes. Let me kill him up on Stony Hill. Kill him at Stony Hill.
Yes.
To politics. Yeah, man.
And within them time, they took a man bust a little tune, hear the tune now. Every time I hear this song. How would that?
I brother named MUTABARUKA. You know, if they about the place, you know, I go out with the mantics, you know. If I go out with the mantics, you know.
Listening to these people, Muta,
yes,
they give me an inspiration and an identity.
Yes.
And I realize that, we value really inside our way, you know.
Oh, you mean, man? Of course.
And if we don't let out, we inside our way, we now go carry the message, you know, Muta.
Then that the man can talk about silent power. You never hear the people me play about silent power.
Me and listen, man.
Silent power, man. Yeah, man.
Yes, Rasta. Now, you know, you're still, man.
Give thanks to hear you, man.
When you bring up the Tommy Cowan, did really move her and go.
Yeah.
And when the greatest move Tommy Cowan never making a bedroom. That's why I can't diss them, man, you know.
No, nobody knows this.
No, but some people don't really know.
Yeah, they don't know Tommy.
You know, kick me out.
From Oxford Road, man.
I remember I said, Tommy, I the man will sing the festival song with the group.
Baba boom, baba boom, baba boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, man. Talent Corporation, up at New Kingston, the Talent Corporation.
Yes.
Right, which part, when they have him car park, the car place, when they were dead the other day, Bill Stewart.
Stewart, yes.
Yeah. They have him charging there. Yeah, Bush Stewart. And there's talent in there, you know. Talent, remember Talent?
Yes.
Tommy Cowan didn't have talent there, every artist used to go there.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, man.
That is true.
Yeah, man.
Give thanks, Muta, man, because when you really talk about Mr. Diana, man, you
yes.
up our aunt's nest bedroom.
All right, sir.
Listen, man, it's a Jamaicans, man. We really have a wealth of talent. Only if the powers that be could enhance that power and give experience, we'll have a powerful nation, brethren.
Yeah, man.
Honestly.
All right,
so give thanks and praise.
Yeah, man, every time, man. Every time.
I'm speaking with you anytime at all, I talk to the eye. And go on the way of the super.
Of course. Give thanks.
Rastafari.
Yeah.
Original should I read for them case time, you know, waste, you know. That is a man, boy. That is a man, boy. That is a man, boy. That is a man, boy.
All right. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We want to say we'll be back here from 2 o'clock. You know, so not this 2 o'clock. Not this 2 o'clock. We're going to reach this 2 o'clock and come back for the next 2 o'clock from 2 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. with the Stepping Razor, the art of war, different vibes, different thing. So, Junior Reid.
Original should I read for them case time, you know, waste, you know. That is a man, boy. That is a man, boy. That is a man,
yes.
boy. That is a man, boy.
Yes, still.
Muta.
Right. Yeah. You read 5 minutes before 2 o'clock.
Yes.
A man just called for you a while ago. Sabatu just called for you a while ago. A man just called for you a while ago. Yeah, Sabatu him name.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, man. That's it. You know, a lot of, you have some people really want have Rasta like some religion thing when Rasta is a thing where resist British colonialism.
Yeah, man, and slavery, yeah, man. I know that's the yes, them come with this with this church Christian business when no, me don't know that, you know.
And yes, and how will was a member of Marcus Garvey's organization.
And that me tell you, brother, me tell him that.
Yes, and then what is him now, how will go swear allegiance to Haile Selassie. Marcus Garvey, as a Pan-Africanist, never swear no allegiance to Haile Selassie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Prince Emmanuel, them come with them cult business, about Trinity business, which that no have nothing to do with the whole and thing them they do. You know, them kind of nonsense there. You know, and things with Haile Selassie as in swear allegiance to Haile Selassie, we know that. And then I think the concern of Muta, you see this NIDS thing here, is a form of the so-called
peeping Tom.
People, you know.
A peeping Tom.
Yes.
Peeping Tom.
And all who is try to, and them want use biometric thing and I tell lies about say it will make people poor man can't open an account. People have been opening them bank accounts in Jamaica from long time and
oh, that them say.
So we must resist this NIDS thing, man. A total peeping Tom thing, man.
No, explain to me when you tell them say you can't open bank account. Everybody open have a bank account. We don't know nobody in Jamaica has a bank account.
Exactly. And people have them identity.
So when him say that? No, when him say that?
No. It's some government thing, you know, them declaration just try to get people to support needs and talk about it will enable people, the poor man can open bank account. Them really feel
no, but how them could have said that and people open bank account from before me ban. Poor people.
Precisely, before me and your ban. Exactly. To show you how them stupid. You know what I mean? And then listen, you notice you don't have no needs in the USA, now Britain, because people resist that.
Of course. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
If needs is so good, why they do have it in the USA? It's a
but we're not
police
take enough.
Man.
We don't have enough ID, Rasta. We have passport. We have driver's license. You have NIS, an NIS card.
NIS. You have the voter's ID. You have the voter's ID.
Yeah. You have your wife. I mean, really, you have your wife. You have more ID than that.
Exactly. No, resist this thing, man.
You know, you want to know.
Totally.
Then they carry go a court and it get licked down, you know, and them go round the corner and come back round with it. Let them do.
Yes.
Yeah, them can't go forward, them lose, and them come back round with it.
Yeah, but people like me and your Muta, we have to be vigilant because you have some people who really get hooked in by the nonsense and lies about this idea about it about solve crime. NIDS can't solve crime. How NIDS is going to solve crime?
No, man, can't solve crime, man.
Police corruption and political corruption make the biggest crimes in Jamaica go on as we know. How NIDS is going to solve that? That's a total lie.
You call too late, you know. Trust me, you call too late. We have to move right now.
I was calling, but
we don't talk about Adina Edwards. We don't talk about Adina Edwards. Remember Adina Edwards?
Man, remember, man, when we are go Kingston Technical, man, and after school, man, and she play on King Street, man, we remember, man,
Barry
and
Street,
then we have to name historian to where you fell to. And things.
Anyway.
Remember, man, when in the 60s there, and things,
yeah, man.
you know.
The tanks, Virgin, we have to move. We have to move.
Yeah, next week we talk more, but listen, no NIDS.
All right,
is
sir.
a fib.
All right, sir.
It's a fib.
Yes, this is the cutting edge.
So my people, this one was indeed a warm one. So feel free to leave an honest comment down in the comment section, and also on own opinion. And you don't know say me dey upon the Black Unity program, so feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you're new. Big up to each and everyone. Up until then, peace out. Adios.